Okay, to catch people up for the part that I didn't record, the 7 minutes that weren't recorded, we just reviewed what we were doing with the seed function in dbreset.js, and we're starting to flesh out some of the things that we just made skeletons of yesterday. So we created the create city query, and we're passing it an object with the property city that is going to have the value Oakland, and is then going to be inserted into the cities table. Okay, so all right. So now we're going to collect the ID that we got back from that, and for the post. So let's look and see what we need to give the post. So the post, we need to give a city ID and a user ID, a title, and we have a check to see whether they're not null. So we better give it a title and a body, and the created at will get populated automatically. City ID, user ID, title, and body. So city ID is going to be, or actually I think I'm going to do city ID, user ID, right? These again, I'm using this object parameter, so I'll just, when I create my query, I'm going to use these as what I'm replacing. So city ID, user ID, okay, so, okay, so now let's actually make this create post query. And so city ID, user ID, title, and body, values, and then we'll do the city ID is what we are going to be handing it, this city ID here, and the user ID, and then the title, and
so it's the user ID coming from because I think we inserted user earlier on.
We did, yeah, exactly right. So we are creating the user, and then because we declared the city ID scoped outside of this function here, we declared the city ID scoped outside. So when we set it for this sort of outside scope. So, or I guess it was the user ID. So now it can be accessed by this function as well. Does that make sense? And here I'm storing the city ID in this outside scope just in case I need it later, but I don't think I will. I actually think it's unnecessary. So I'm gonna remove that. I don't think I'm ever gonna have to use the city ID in any of my functions except this one here. And so now, because I did that, the city ID is going to have to be city result.id. So I'm taking it from the parameter here. Do you have other questions on that, James?
No, that makes sense. I was just forgetting what we did.
No, I'm glad you asked. Okay. All right. So great. So now it looks like we're good on our post. Let's make sure we are returning star because we are going to need that post ID in order to create our comment. So our comment params, let's look and see. Oh, well, let's actually give this a body too, right? Because it's not a very interesting comment if it doesn't say anything. Okay, and let's actually give it this check also that it can't be blank. Oh, and let's give it a timestamp too. Wow, I just like, maybe we stopped in the middle of comments and I just forgot to update them. Okay, so post ID, user ID, and body. So our user is going to comment on their own post because I don't feel like making another user. So we're going to have post ID is going to be this post result that we got from this insert query. The ID of that. The user ID is just going to be that user ID that I scoped to this outside scope and set here after the user insert. The body will be this comment. And then I just need a create comment query. Oh, what file are we in right now? Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is right now I'm seeding the database. So this is for my tests. And for my tests, I want to make sure that I have a user, a city, a comment, and a post, because I might need those for my tests. So I'm just making sure that I have those in my database. Yeah.
Probably said it already, but
oh, the slash is here. Yes. So so when you use named parameters, you do $, and then you somehow instead of, if it's going to be a word and not a number, they need you to delineate the word somehow. It's common to delineate the word like this. But I don't want to do that in this case because I'm using a template literal. And this means something for template literals. Yeah. So if I do this instead, now it's just like an alternative way. We can
does that protect against SQL injection? Like,
yes. Well, yeah, but it's also just saying if I do $, and then I give this, I'm just saying this is going to be from the object that I pass. This is going to be, give me the value for this property from that object that I passed at the second parameter. And if we look, let's do PG promise named parameters. So here, let's see. Passing arrays, okay, right. And then, no, this, I'm sorry, I just hate the documentation here. There's, oh, okay, where star is any of, okay, so you can, I think you can use any one of these. I just either use this if I'm not in a template literal, or I use this if I am in a template literal. Yeah. I'm just going to quickly move away from that. Anyway, thank you for asking, Dev. Okay. So insert into comments. So we had a post ID, user ID, and a body. And we'll do values. Post ID, user ID. Okay, and so in our comment params, we have a post ID, this user ID, which again, I had scoped to the larger one so that I could use it from this result here, and then the body. Okay, so I think we're actually done with our CDB. Should we try it? See what happens? Oh, ye of little faith. Okay, so here I am. First thing I want to do is I want to reset my database because I just changed my comments table. And I'm going to actually be trying this on my actual database and not my test database. It doesn't really matter, but that's what I'm going to do. And so I want to make sure that that my database is up to date. So I'm going to do npm run db init, I think. Great. Okay, and oh, interesting. So I had so, oh right, I think this seed file is blank, which is why I didn't get any like output here. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. So now if I go into and I select star from users, nothing from posts, nothing from cities, nothing from comments, nothing. Okay. So now let's go and let's do a node. Okay. All right. And I'm going to say const db equals require. Okay. And if I look at db, it's, you know, that thing. It's my connection object. And now I want to now require this db reset. And I want to take this reset db from it. So let's go to, so const equals, and now we're gonna have to figure out how to get there. So, okay, so I am right now in here. So I have to go up, then I'm here. I have to go up one directory, then into my test directory, then into my utilities directory. And it was, that's not great to have this be called db reset and this called reset db, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. Okay. So reset db is a function. Let's run it. I'm not returning anything from reset db. Let's reset db. Of course I'm not returning anything. It doesn't do anything. Okay, let's let's see. So truncate all db tables and seed db. Okay. And so now, oh, it's upset because it's not actually returning anything, but we'll, so we're going to return, and then let's go up here. We have, we don't need get tables, but we're going to do clear db and then seed db. So I'm going to return clear db. Did I? All right, that is just not good that I'm like capitalizing the db sometimes and not others. So let's. Okay. Cool. Now we're returning a promise. db.query is not a function. I thought it was. Okay, let's make sure we're returning the right, we're exporting the right thing from DB. I'm guessing that maybe that this DB. Curious though.
There are a lot of syntax thing too. For some reason with DB promise.
Say that again.
With DB promise, they give me that error when I have a syntax thing. If I'm missing like a comma.
Oh, really? They say db.query is not a function?
Yeah, it'll tell me. Like,
that's useless.
That's
Okay.
a terrible error.
All right, let's do a db.query select now. Select now is sort of my, nope. Let's see if we do a db.one.
What is just DB? What's on that?
Yeah, it was this big ol' thing. Yeah. So let's go to here. This is just what we do, right? We just that's.
Oh, do you invoke the require
Oh.
there? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually, when I was in the DB reset, I was worried because I don't know if you remember, but it was when I had the DB.1, do you remember it was giving me squiggles on that .1? I have a lot of type checking in my whatever this thing is, VS Code, and so it knew that DB.1 was wrong and bad because it's doing all this type checking for me, and I was just ignoring it. So bad on me. Okay, so let's do this. All right, connection string. Oh, process.env, because we are not, oh lordy, okay, because this is, because I'm counting on getting this from my .env file, and I never require .env. So for now, I'm just going to do it here. So I'm going to say const.env. No, what do you just do? You just do require .env, is that right?
That .env always confused me. With that thing.
Oh, wait, say that again?
So whenever I require .env, it
Monica, on it. Oh, because I'm in I'm not in the top level. Okay, there's my .env. Fine. So now I'm going to node here. I'm going to do my require.env. Fine. And now I'm going to do the const db, but now it can't be /. It has to be /source db. Okay. And then, all right. And then this is going to be, okay. All right. What are the chances? I'm feeling good. Oh, cowardly refusing to truncate production DB.
Nice.
Good for me. Okay.
Nice.
So I'm going to, now I'm going to say export node env equals test. I don't know that I've created a Rome test. Okay, so we have this test, but let's do a test db init, and that's going to be, or we'll do a test db create, and it will be create db roam test. That's all I'm going to do for now. No, you're right. I also need to give it a schema. Okay. All right, we're getting there. Okay, so now what do you think? What are my odds? Okay. Okay. So interesting. I seem to have gotten like if I did my .then and I console logged, I seem to have gotten a promise that resolved to a promise. Oh, I'm getting a query result error. No data returned from the query. Okay, so let's actually go back. I think I might here not have done returning star. Okay. This weirds me out. I'm not sure what that is. This, like, if I'm like doing a console log here, this looks like this could be the results of my last promise. So I'm like totally happy about that. But what on earth is this? Why is it, what? Huh? Error, function, debug, domain error? Yeah, good question. Nope.
I wonder if all the database.
Yeah, that's a good question too. I like to understand things though. I want to understand why that's there, but we can. Oh, but we're in the wrong database. Uh-huh. Okay, so it did stuff. So our biggest mystery right now is why it's printing this out. I want to make sure I'm not getting any errors. So you notice that I like sort of gave myself an indicator as to when we're actually making an error here. So let's. So it's not. So this is not an error. It's just somehow giving us a promise. So let's if we do a reset db .then result okay. So yeah, so oh, I know what okay, this is, I'm pretty sure this is just because we're on the command line, and the command line, whenever, okay, yeah, in fact, I'm sure that's what it is. We're in the console, and the console will always give you whatever the line resolves to as an output, which is why, like up here, I was getting all these undefineds, because this line resolved to undefined, and this line resolves to a promise. Okay. All right, I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. Now I'm just emulating Stephen Greider. That's what he always says when his code works. So I am going to let's commit. So create, or let's say finish db reset seed function. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna take the oopsies out. That's just unprofessional. Okay, so can we actually write a test now? That would be amazing. All right, so let's see what our file structure is. Okay. All right, so and now we're gonna have to go back because it's been like over 24 hours since we looked at what our actions actually were. All right, so let's create a new user. Let's do that action. So in order to prepare for TDD, I'm gonna make a shell of the function so that I can run it and get my failing result, right? And then create the function and get my passing result. But in order to run it and get the failing result, I have to have some shell of the function, right? So I'm going to create a shell of the function, and then I also need to sort of set up inside my actions my my test. So let's do a touch index.db here. We'll test all of our actions in the same file until it gets unwieldy, and then maybe we'll start testing them in separate files. Let's do user actions here. Okay. All right. So no. And then okay, so we've got our user actions, and how do you deal with .env and tests? Because we want to call .env just once, sort of at the beginning of the tests. Do we call it in every test file so that we can run them separately? What do you do? I think you might be able to actually call it like when you do the when you run your test command, you might be able to call .env from there, but let's just look and see. So node.env mocha tests.
The sample challenge it just imports
At the beginning of the test file, but there's only one test file there, right? I'm going to have many test files.
Don't you usually like just do mocha and then global?
Yeah, I am going to do mocha recursive, but I do need to make sure that this .env this .env config gets run, right? I'm wondering what this env test is. Okay, this English is not this person's first language. Mocha.opts. We don't want to punish him with data loss or any other hell. Okay. Mocha.opts. There's always so much to learn. Mocha was fun. Yeah. Yeah, you need to be told stuff like that because it's not inherent. Okay. Okay. Mocha will attempt to load the test mocha.opts as a configuration. Okay, and we've got require should, reporter, and UI. Oh, I see. And this is right. So this is where we can put flags. But the fact is, I want to be able to I want to be able to run Mocha. I have a feeling there's some way. Okay, so I don't want mocha.opts anymore because I see what mocha.opts does. But what, so mocha.env load, I don't know, okay. Mocha.ops specs. Okay. Okay, so here, okay, node configure, shared config. What does this have to do with .env? Oh, you can just source .env? All right. Let's I'm not loving this. I need to get better at .env because I just don't feel like I'm doing it right. But no error message, just that I'm not that I want to have access to my to my .env variables in my when I run my tests.
I usually do. I just change. I say like export whatever variable it is text in my script.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but I usually
yeah. I mean, I definitely need to do that too. All right. Well, I'll just do oh, I can't do that. I'm not happy with any of this, frankly. But fine. Yeah, and what do they say?
So there's a preload option flag. So you don't have to require the application code.
So I think that's what I was thinking about. What does that preload look like?
So if you want me to flag it.
Yeah. Okay. -- require or -r. Okay. So let's see whether this works. Who knows? But that's what I was thinking of, like, because you can, yeah, okay, fine. So, what, oh, did I think I was just, this was all just in my head, but okay, fine. So this was all just in my head, like, how am I going to deal with the .env? Like, I didn't have an actual thing. Okay, so let's because we only have 3 minutes, let's just sort of summarize, and then we can start up again tomorrow. So basically, in setting up my test, I wanted to make sure that I had access to those .env variables. And I wasn't sure where, because I'm going to have many test files and not just one, I wasn't sure where to run the .env load line, which is this one here. And because usually you try and run that in the first thing that's going to be run. So, you know, if you're running a server, you run that like at the top of your server, and, you know, everything else is going to get imported after that or required after that. But because, like, if I'm doing the test file and I'm doing it recursive, I don't know which test file is going to get run first. So I think that this probably is a decent way to do it, where I'm actually running it. This is a way to run it actually on the, like, as part of the command itself. And I think because we can do those opts since we were already looking at mocha.opts, let's actually make a mocha.opts in our last 2 minutes. Yeah, Kelsey.
Can you say why
Yeah, I'm doing it recursive because I'm going to have many files in my source/test and beneath it, and I want to run all of them. And the -exit is just don't leave any PGP processes hanging, just get out of there. So, okay, so I am going to, yeah, so let's actually do a mocha.opts, why not? Okay, so it will attempt to load /text test/mocha.opts. So here, okay, but it's actually going to be source, because we're going to be running our scripts from this top level directory. So maybe I should move test out. I'm using this git move so that git knows that I'm changing it. So now notice if I do a git status, it just knows that I just moved it. I renamed it. Oh man, it's 10 o'clock. Why does this happen? Okay. Anyway, we'll pick up tomorrow with Mocha Ops. Okay. So yeah. So to be continued. Check in.